Bukola and Eneni, I was just saying thank you. You know, what I've learned in this 1 hour that we've been here, and I mean, I've known you, both of you, separately, but I've known you from university days, from church the early days. So, getting to know this other side of you and to learn from you, it's an absolute pleasure. Thank you once again. We are going on to business, and the topic. Well, I mean, we've been talking about being God's ambassadors in fashion, music, lifestyle. The married and single one took a bit. I know it did, but we had so much to share there, and that one, again, we're not the only ones that learned from there. Even the back people that learned a bit about that as well. But thank you for sharing. Business, integrity in business, moral code in business, loving God and loving people while doing business. I mean, is there like a line between, actually went to check the meaning of morals? Is it just man-made rules, or is it based on biblical wisdom? And I realized that it was actually called was it ethics or Christian ethics or something like that. And I was like, so they're not just man-made, they're based on biblical wisdom. And notice I say wisdom, not rules or law, wisdom.
Yes.
Because at the end of it, everything that is morally good for us is actually really good for us. It's not just a rule or law that says do this, don't do that, do this, don't do that. At the end of it, it benefits us as people. So, Eneni, integrity in business
It's key.
is key. Why?
It's key. It's key because we're not separate. We're not your identity as a child of God is not separate in business. I'm sure we've all heard about apostles in the workplace.
Absolutely.
Now, irrespective of any religion, the whole idea is even in business, you want to do things that, in a very ethical manner. I'm glad you talked about the definition of morals, right? For me, it's always been that the good ethics, the social, observing social etiquette, and living a good value system whereby you inculcate the culture of doing things properly, the right manner, in a fair, just, and equitable way. You don't breed an environment of favoritism. Integrity means that everyone will be considered equally, and meritocracy will speak at the end of the day. So we look out for excellence, and that's how good societies are built. When you emphasize excellence, it's not about your tribe, it's not about your gender, it's not about, who your godfather is. It's about what do you bring to the table? What value do you bring? If we're granting you this contract, it must be because you're the best in terms of service delivery and cost effectiveness. So anything you do that takes away from that, for me, is actually destroying the environment. Because if you don't do business that builds good values with your stakeholders, that builds a strong business environment for the country, because whatever thing you do, it's also a seed to the entirety of how business is run in the country. As far as I'm concerned, the corruption we all shout about, we are all guilty of it. We've fueled it one way or the other.
Absolutely.
And so we have made people feel that, it is their right to demand it of us. Because what do? We give. You said something fundamental when we're talking about marriage. Once you give, and you keep giving, what does the other person do? They keep expecting.
Yeah, not just expecting, they also start to give back.
I'm coming there. And so they start to give back, right? And what happens is that because you know there's a pipeline, this is what you give to get that back.
I see. Okay.
It takes away consideration for other options. So you have, before we started, we talked about manipulating when we were talking about bribery.
Yeah.
You have manipulated that decision-making channel, or decision maker, to focus on you because of what they get from you.
Facilitated it somewhat.
Hey, that's what I'm saying.
I mean, Bukola,
let
me tell you, let me tell you, because when we were outside, she said something that made me think about it in a different way.
Yeah.
She mentioned tax.
Yes. Yeah.
Tax collectors in the Bible were bad people.
Yes.
Tax collectors now, they're good people.
Because they're generating some revenue.
So, Bukola, where's the balance in this? I mean, no, exactly.
It's a real side. Because you go into the marketplace because you want to make money. And there are rules that guide that territory, as it were, whether it's as an entrepreneur or whether it's as a professional working in a place. There are rules that guide, what happens. But I've never seen a rule book that actually say, let's do things in an unethical way. Let's do things without going through standard operating procedures. Let's do things without being in compliance with what the regulator has asked us to. So the rule books generally in every organization, even for entrepreneurs, is I'm going to pay my taxes, I'm going to file my dates, I'll file my returns. Those are all the things that guide. As in, I'm saying this is not moral. This is just the rule book for practicing business.
Yeah.
Then as an ambassador, you are now layering on that rule book with what you know to be, how the Bible says, give unto Caesar what is Caesar's. So you're not stealing from the system. The system says pay taxes for your staff, pay it. They've given you a guide, a pay tax book, rule book that tells you how to do it, and you do it. So you've done that. Then you layer it with ensuring that I'm going to do it the way I'm supposed to do. So that means I'm not going to be I won't say I won't comply, but I'll go and give a kickback. I don't want to do the work of filing proper returns, but I'll just give somebody.
That one is bad.
And let him just help me cook the books and all of that. So I'm saying there are guidelines already. Nobody ever creates a business and says we're going to do things, in any way that is not right. So it's there. And then you bring that, okay, even though I know the rule, I'm not actually going to break the law. I'm not actually, and if I feel there's something wrong with maybe the way they've done the taxation for something, then I go on to advocacy. So I try and find, whoever is in charge, and we can do advocacy on trying to fix it. But while the rule is the rule, as a Christian or as anyone with moral, or as an ambassador of your faith, there's no faith that says you should go against the law.
No.
So for me, you layer it with that. The other part for me is also sustainability. How do you sustain your business? How do you sustain your practice? So if you build it on haphazard, I do this today, I don't do this tomorrow, for you as the owner, or for you as, whatever sphere of influence you have, maybe I'm the head of HR where I am, if I do things in different ways, how am I sustaining, that particular business? Because at some point, without those structures, I'm saying this, I'm not even going on the moral side. I'm saying the moral actually helps you to stay on the straight and narrow. But the straight and narrow itself
has corners.
Everything that is there, you have to look at it and say, this is good, or there's something wrong, and then I go to advocacy. Let's see how we can change the policy around this thing. But at the end of the day, for us to have sustainable businesses, that is why folks like NNA are the people that were begging, please come and help us, come and tell us how to do this thing. How do we keep governance right? I have we have this business investors who just want us to do things quick. How do we ensure that we still do things quick, but we do things, in a way that keeps us as a going concern after tomorrow? So for me, I feel being an ambassador helps to layer on the rule book that guides us in doing business.
So putting it very simply and comprehensively, the black, the white, and how to meander and manage in the grays. There will always be grays. There will always be that.
Yeah.
But just meander through it and try and get out on the white side.
Bottom line is you must also define who you are, who you want to be known for, how you want your business to be seen, because it ties into your sustainability.
It does. That I agree.
Yeah.
I agree.
Yeah.
Bukola, NNE, we have come to the end of our questions. I am so grateful. The Joela Woman podcast is recorded once a year, but this has been one of they've all been very interesting though, but I can't thank you enough for joining us on this. Every topic was actually, like Bukola has said earlier, curated and chosen, and I'm happy that you were able to speak well to it, lend your expertise to it, and your knowledge as well. One last word from each one of you. One last sentence. What would it be? Eneni?
Find you, be you, do you, but make others the center of your universe.
That's good.
For me, my advocacy remains lead through kindness. Kindness is the foundation that you lay and you can always layer on. Just lead through kindness.
I like that. And I can say that we sum this up by going back to the Bible again, and I mentioned it earlier. Love your neighbor as yourself.
Yes.
Thank you so much, Joela Women. It's been an amazing time. Thank you. See you soon.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you.